Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I am back with another emergency card kit. This is kit 11 and I think it's the best one yet. I'm so excited. This is the favorites kit, the one where you guys requested to put all of your favorite sentiments onto a single kit so that we're printing less and wasting less. And I'm so excited. If you are new to the channel, an emergency card is one where we make the cards ahead of time, but we leave the sentiment off so that when we need a card, we can choose the design that best fits whoever we're giving it to, but then we can pick the sentiment that best fits the occasion. And hopefully there aren't cards sitting in our stash that just haven't found their right perfect moment. Anyway, I have lots of those. To help you out with this, on the 1st and 15th of every month, I come out with a free printable that has 16 emergency sentiments that are a 1 3/4 inch circle. Though, thank you everybody for your awesome feedback. We will soon have more of the large format sentiments as well. And then I also come out with a card sketch. So this is the card sketch for this kit, and I'm very excited about it. We'll dig into that in just a minute. I do want to know, it is July, and you've probably seen it already. It's Christmas in July all over the place. How many of you are starting your Christmas cards? I have started mine. And so I'm wondering if people are interested in holiday sentiments coming out later in July, or if we can wait until further into fall for that, or if you want some now and some later. Like, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. If you celebrate something other than Christmas or give cards to people that need holiday sentiments other than Christmas, put that in the comments below too. I mean, I make these for my sister-in-law who lives in Norway, and they're a Norwegian. Like, I do all kinds of things. Let's make it happen. But you know, if it's something other than basic holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm pretty comfortable with. But give me whatever wording you would recommend if it's a holiday that I may not know as well. Okay, let's take a look at what's here. So the first page of sentiments is for those of you, and there were lots of you, who are like, I really just use the really simple wording. The happy birthday, thinking of you, get well, that sort of thing. So we have thinking of you, sending love, huge hugs. I got a bunch of requests for that one. So I was like, well, let's put it in there twice if people are using it a lot. I doubled up. There's 2 of each of these birthday sentiments. So big birthday wishes and happy birthday. There are 2 thank yous, the with gratitude and thank you. You're in my thoughts with deepest sympathy at this difficult time. Happy anniversary. And then this happy anniversary is new. I wanted a font that was a little bit softer, and I didn't have one that was simple. There was like a lot more wording on some of those. So anyway, I hope you like that one. Lots of requests for wishing you sunshine and a speedy recovery. And then my thoughts and prayers are with you during this difficult time. And this one actually was on the sassy birthday sentiments, but I know that some of you were using it just on its own and without the snarky inside. And so I was like, you know what, let's just put it on here and make that a little bit easier to get to. So these are available both with and without the circle. So if you want to use a larger circle or a different shape, that is available for you as well. This page is a combination of some of the sassy requested sentiments and some of the multi-purpose sentiments, the ones that work for lots and lots of different things. So happy birthday. Just let me know how old we're telling people you are now. I had lots of requests for that one. And banana years, your bread. You've successfully survived a full orbit of your local star. You're never too old to play in the dirt. Happy birthday. Is it weird being the same age as old people? That might have been one of mine. I had 1 or 2 extra spaces and I was like, well, I'm putting my favorites on there. If your favorites did not make it onto these 2 lists, leave it in the comments below. I will do another favorites at some point. If there's lots of requests right away, I'll do it right away. Otherwise, we'll wait a little bit and let people submit their requests again. Hello, I appreciate you. Thanks and stuff. Congrats on that thing you did. That's new. I thought that was funny and really sort of multi-purpose. Something I would say to somebody. They say duct tape fixes everything. A little birdie told me you aren't feeling well, so I ate it. I had lots of requests for that one. The adventure continues. Brace yourself. So that's new. We already had the adventure continues and requests for that one, so I just added to that. You are freaking awesome in 2 different fonts. I use those all the time. does anybody else use those? I don't know. Again, I had a couple extra spaces and I was like, well, let's make this useful for me too, I guess. You rock. You are my favorite nerd. So again, it's available both with and without the circles for you to use in your card making. On the next 2 pages, we have our card sketch with measurements, and then there is a cutting guide or a scoring guide, if you will, for our card base, because we're going to use a trifold card base, which is a little different than normal. And then in about a week, so next Friday, I will come out with a second video where we take this sketch and we step it up a little bit. And some of those cards are going to do some fancy things. They're not hard, but I thought it might help if those measurements were here for you. So there are 3 sets of measurements for the cards for the next video. All right, you certainly could tackle it now. They're not real hard, but I thought it'd be easier to put everything in the same printable, keep it in the same place. If you're interested in the download, stay tuned and I will let you know how to get a hold of this. It is absolutely free. To get started, we are just going to work our way through the pieces that are on our card sketch. So I'm starting with this gray matte layer, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I have cut mine out of some dark teal cardstock. It is not a card base. It is just a panel, okay? Next, I have a piece of cardstock. You could do this in any color that is going to be our trifold card base. This measures 11 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so I cut a strip off the top. If you are worried about wasting that strip, Emergency Card Kit 8 creates a mini Slimline card starting with that size or almost that size. Okay, so I will link that below. And there's tons of other videos that use that sketch that kind of step it up and switch it around. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration for that other piece. We are going to score this twice. Okay, so the measurements are here, but if you're more visual, it's also here. I am going to score at 3 7/8. Okay, and then if I had a larger scoreboard, I would score at 7 7/8. But I didn't want to get mine out. So I am going to fold that back. Okay, so there's my fold line. And then I'm going to score at 4 inches. So you can either score at 7 7/8 on a big board or fold and score at 4 on a smaller one. And then I will just wrap that around. So here's my card base. I have a larger flap on the inside and a shorter flap on the outside. To decorate this, I have a piece of pattern paper that measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/4, and that is going to fit perfectly on this inside panel. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay. I am eventually going to glue the whole thing to my card panel, that teal panel, but it's easier to trim off any overhang if you put your pattern paper on before you add it to that panel. Okay. So here I've added it, I lined it up on that inside edge. And you can see I do have just a little bit hanging over the side. You could use your scissors, but I'm just going to bring in my trimmer. All right. Next, I have a piece to decorate this panel, right? Do you see how once we have that contrast in there, it's really kind of interesting. So it's the purple pattern paper that is 3 1/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, and this is going to fill that entire panel. You certainly could do mats and layers. You could switch this up in all kinds of ways, and we're going to do some of that. But I wanted to keep it simple since we're already creating a trifold card. So here are our little pieces. Then I am going to glue this to my teal panel, and I will have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Finally, I am going to add my sentiment circle mat. I am using a 2.5 inch circle. This is cut from the Spellbinders Fluted Classics circles. It's the smallest of the fluted circles, and I like that detail. But if you don't have those, that's fine. You could use a 2.5-inch circle. You could use a 2-inch circle, anything in there. You could use a different shape, right? Make this your own. And before I put this into my pile of cards that are ready for any occasion, I am going to punch out one of my sentiments, and I will temporarily adhere that to my card so that if I am running out the door with my hair on fire, like I do, oh my gosh, I have a story for you. I'll be ready to go. So Saturday, we were celebrating Father's Day late with my family. And at about 9:35, my mom's texting me going, Sarah, maybe you didn't get the text that said Father's Day brunch was at 9:30. I thought it was supposed to be on Sunday, right? So I'm like racing up to the craft room to dig out my Father's Day card that I had already made, but I hadn't, whatever. It's a good thing I put a sentiment on it, or he'd have gotten a naked card. Okay, so this one just says big birthday wishes. But if I want to change that later, I certainly can. If you want to go ahead and glue it on there, you can always punch out another one later and just glue it right on top. No one will know. For our second card, we're going to start the same way. It's the same color cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But we are going to take this section and we're going to extend it so it goes all the way to 5 1/2 instead of 5 1/4. So we will have a margin on either side, but not at the top and bottom. So this piece measures 11 inches by 5 1/2 inches, okay? And we are going to score this at 3 7/8, okay? And then instead of leaving 4 inches of space, we're gonna score at 3 7/8 again. But to make that work, I am going to fold this first, okay? And I am going to trim just a little bit off of this side. Otherwise, I'm trying to wrap that around when they're scored at the exact same length. Okay, so it doesn't have to be much, just a little bit. That's it. Okay, just that little guy. Now I am going to take this, I'm folding that flap under, and I am going to score this again at 3 7/8 of an inch. Okay, then I will fold my short flap around. That's my card base. Instead of covering up this entire panel like we did last time, I used a colored cardstock to create a margin on either side. So this is 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to adhere that right down the middle. Okay. Next, I have this same piece of pink pattern paper that is 3 7/8, but then 5 1/2, right? Because our card base is a little bit taller, and I'm going to adhere that to the inside. Again, I ended up with a little bit hanging over the edge, so I'll just trim that. Because this is a really heavyweight cardstock, I liked the margins better when I scored with that 3 7/8 inch panel in the middle instead of 4 inches, because I lose a little bit to the folds. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to adhere it right to my card base. And I somehow thought that needed a little extra. So you know I've been using up my scraps. I have no idea what size that is. It's probably less than a 1/16 of an inch. It's just a tiny little sliver of a thing. And I'm going to add one to either side. Note to self, these would have been easier to trim if I had added them before I put it on this teal card base, but I like that little bit of shimmer that it adds. It's an extra something, and it wasted almost none of my very fancy cardstock. Well, you know, if you watch me, it's my bargain fancy cardstock, but still. And can we talk about this paper? I have a thing for flamingos. I just do. I got it from scrapbook.com. I think the brand was Reminisce. I've never heard of that brand before, but the quality of the paper is great. And it was flocking fabulous. It was amazing. I really wanted to make like a flamingo pun in the sentiments, and I was like, no, it's the favorites kit, so I didn't. I'm just going to add my circle down at the bottom, right? And then we will punch out another sentiment for this one. I like huge hugs. I like huge hugs for all the reasons. So I'm going to center it till I can't see that black circle. And then I will grab my temporary adhesive and add that right on there. Look at that. It's super easy. It's a little bit different, right? I like just a little bit of surprise in there. So those are our first two cards for kit number 11. I hope you liked this. I just thought, I mean, it's a fun fold, but it's not super crazy, right? It just is something a little bit different. There's tons of potential. And I can't wait until next Friday to show you the other ideas I have with this, where we're really going to step it up and make it, I think, pretty cool. So if you're interested in the free download, this is completely free. And I think this is the best kit yet because it covers all of the occasions. And there's 2 full pages of sentiments, right? These are your most requested sentiments. We have some really simple ones, and then we have some that are a little sassier and some that are really multi-purpose. We have them with and without the circles. And then you also have the card sketch with measurements. If you print this at 100%, this prints to scale, right? So you can use this as a guide for your measurements. You also get all the measurements for next Friday's video. I can't even, I'm so excited. To get this free printable, all I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And then if you click more or show more, it will unfold the description box below the video. And down at the very bottom, you will find a link to both files, one with the American spelling and one with the Australian spelling. Again, if I missed anything spelling wise, or if there's a typo or anything like that, let me know right away. If you have ideas for sentiments, please put that in the description box below. You guys and your wonderful feedback are the reason that I know definitely to make more of the larger format sentiments. So those are coming. Let me know about Christmas sentiments in the second half of July, or any other holiday sentiments that you're interested in. And until then, happy crafting.